Hey guys, welcome back to What Does the Fox Say? It's Monday, April 1st. No, this is not an April Fool's thing. Although a lot of people at the horse show seem to think that this was, and I was just like, look, this is my journey. This is what I'm doing. This is what I've started. Um, and let's face it, I'm not built for OnlyFans, so you know, this is where it's gonna go. Um, Home from the horse show last night. Um, Pretty uneventful drive. I only had one little Fiat 500 fucking thing try to push me off the road. I don't know what these little cars think when we're driving down the interstate, that they seem to think that they can push my dually and 6-horse trailer out of the way because they want to get on the interstate. And I got nowhere to go. I'm not hitting my brakes. And they get mad at me. This guy got kind of mad at me, but it's like, dude, where you want me to go? And I'm bigger than you. Get out of the way. Don't be a dumbass. You know. But pulling a horse trailer is scary at the best of times. Pulling a horse trailer through Dallas, shit, that could get kind of wild. But other than that, pretty uneventful trip home. All the horses hold good, so happy with that. Um, Typical get home from the horse show. I gotta unpack the trailer this morning and do get started on taking care of all the horse show stuff after I got done feeding. Um, and Obviously there's saddles and bridles and cinches and sheets and blankets and buckets and everything else that has to come out. And then as my wife is always very grateful that I bring home bags of dirty laundry, not just my own, but horse laundry, splint boots, bell boots, bags full of polo wraps. Um, so obviously she is so happy that I take that to the house and I wash that all before we go to the next horse show. Um, and today was a very interesting day. Got started on that, and obviously it's the first of the month. We do our billing, goes out on the first of the month, is due by the 10th. And we try to have everybody get us paid by the 10th if we can. I've got one or two customers that their financial situation, they ask to pay a little later, and that's cool. I don't mind. As long as people communicate what they want and what works best for them, I really don't mind. It's when you have a lack of the communication from your customers and they don't tell you, hey, look, I get paid on the 14th of the month. Can I pay you on the 15th? I don't mind. I really don't mind, as long as I know. Um, and But that's how we try to do it. So obviously we had to do that. We had horse show billing to put in and shoeing to put in, and that's something else. The shoeing and the vet work, we quite often bill in arrears, and sometimes that can be problematic. Um, I'd love to be able to bill a lot of it in advance, but sometimes I don't know what we're going to do, if we're going to change something up on a horse. I mean, I got a pretty good idea um, what it would cost, but that's just not the way we do it at this time. I think maybe as time goes along, we might change that, but shoot, right now it works pretty good where we bill our board and training up front on the first of the month, and if the horse was shod the previous month, we put the shoes or worming or vet or chiropractor, whatever, on that. Horse show billing goes on, so obviously being 1st of April, the March horse shows go on the 1st of April bill. We go horse shows this month, they'll go on the 1st of May bill. But sometimes cash flow in a business like this can be tough, and thankfully I've got my vendors are pretty good, and only one time have I had to ask somebody to hold a check for me, and it's never a great feeling when you have to ask somebody, hey, you hold a check for me till I get my cash flow back in action and get things going, give me a week on it, whatever. It's never a fun thing to do, but some months you're rolling and things are going great and the barn is full and you've sold horses and you've had good horse shows, and then other months things come up, it might be truck and trailer repair or barn repair or tractor. The tractor cost me a shit ton of money last year fixing that thing. um, and things happen running a ranch throughout the month that sometimes are unforeseen, and you have to outlay to fix that, and it puts you in a little bit of a bind stepping into the next month. And and you're gonna say to somebody, "Hey, I got $80 left." You're gonna you're gonna have to hold that check. It'll be good in a week's time, but just don't cash it yet. It's never a good feeling. But luckily, I have all the people that we deal with. We built up a very good relationship with, and I feel that although I don't like having to do that, I try to avoid doing that as much as I possibly can, mostly out of pride. Um, but it's nice to know that you can ask and you can say to somebody. And again, that comes back to communication. I don't mind if somebody says to me, "Hey, Andrew, I don't got the full training this month. Can I pay you half?" And I don't mind if somebody's upfront with me about it and says, "Hey man, I'm struggling right now too." I mean, I get it. There's a lot of us out here struggling with the rising cost of everything. I mean, shoot, going to the Walmart right now is about $500 a week for my family. Um, Probably more than that. I'm probably being slightly conservative on that number. So it's tough for a lot of people, and I feel like not very often. I think a lot of time our pride gets in the way, and it's not often enough that people should have the courage to say, "Hey, I'm struggling a little bit too. Can we figure something out? I want to keep my horse. I want to go horse show and do this and do that. But I just need to, I don't mind. I mean, shoot, we'll put one on board for a little while if we need to or something. I mean, I'm good with it. I try to work with all of my customers as best I can. I don't always call them as much as I should, but that's sometimes the way that goes too. But as long as those communication lines are open, I think a lot of issues can be avoided. And that, again, that brings me into my day. So we had billing and stuff like that to do, and I'm trying to sell a couple of yearlings, and I got somebody who's interested in one and wanted x-rays on him and wanted a pre-purchase check done. So I called the vet while I was away last week and said, "Hey, is there a chance you can come out and x-ray some hocks and stifles for me?" "Sure, no problem. I'll be there next week." I called Rachel and said, "Hey, vet's gonna come next week. X-ray that colt. We need to get him in out the pasture and let's round pen him a little bit and get him a little more halter broken, a little more handled, and so we can get him x-rayed and vet checked on Wednesday, and if everything's good there, we can move forward with this buyer." And she's like, "Yeah, sure." So I guess on Thursday or Friday, it might have been Friday, Rachel and Lottie decided to go get him in out the pasture, and I guess they about got him. And he got away from them, and they went, gathered him back up again and brought him back up to the barn, and I guess he got away from Lottie again and about drug her through the shit pile, which I would have loved Rachel to have videoed that. That would have been so cool. Not so much for Lottie, but just entertainment value for me, really. But they get him in the barn, and I get home. He's here, and he seems quiet. He seems happy enough, and this morning I decided I'm gonna go work on him in the round pen a little bit. I'm gonna take him out there and just kind of pick his feet up and sack him out and do all the yearling stuff. But bearing in mind, I know he got away from Lottie last week. I'm like, all right. So I put the cowboy version of the Be Nice halter on him. Those of you that've been around a while know exactly what I'm saying. But I put this on with his halter. And I took him, he led out to the round pen like he'd done it 100 times. No problem. He just walked out there. And I get my little flag stick and I start sacking him out, and I pet on him, and I'm doing all of this stuff, and I'm running my hands on his legs, and he's being great. He hasn't moved. He's not trying to be a pain in the ass. And I've got my lead rope, and I go to start picking up his feet, and he's kind of, he's not real keen on it, but he's not leaving. So I got a little shorter rope, foot rope, for helping foot break these babies. Um, that I just loop around, and I put it around the around the fetlock, and I can pick that foot up and put it down, pick it up, put it down, and I can get them to where they're not pulling so much and they're not leaning. And so I get the foot rope on him, and as I'm leaning down there and I'm picking this foot up, and I've got my rope around to my outside, and I'm just, all these thoughts are going through my mind of dumb ways to die. You know, well, how did Andrew die? Well, he was in the round pen with that yearling and trying to pick its feet up for the first time. And all these things are going through my head. Of, you know, how can I not be in a bad spot, yet still get done what I need to get done? And not scare him too. I'm not trying to, force, you will pick your feet up. No, he's a baby. He's got to learn, but at the same time, he don't need to kick me in the head. Um, but actually, he ended up being really, really good, and I was able to trim his front feet this afternoon without him being a problem at all. He was pretty good. Um, and that's another thing. I trimmed a broodmare today. I trimmed that colt today. I put shoe back on one that I jerked one off in the pasture, and I've got another shoe to put back on here later on this evening that came off of a show horse too. And in between the horseshoe coming out, I do fix, put shoes back on and stuff like that, and I do trim my broodmares, and I try to trim my babies. Um, I try to do the broodmares are more for my practice, and it keeps me able to do it. I grumble and I whine about it to my wife, and I tell her she owes me for me doing it, because I could pay somebody to do it. But at the same time, it gives me the opportunity to handle my broodmares a little bit and know what their feet are doing, and it keeps me doing a little bit of that stuff. And I like to do the babies, because I like to get them as foot broke as I can before they go off to somebody, or before they come into the barn, and then that way my farrier isn't having to fight with these things. That they're a little bit more conscious of what they're supposed to be doing, and they're okay with it. Hopefully I've trimmed them 4, 5, 6 times, 7 times before my horseshoer ever gets to handling them. And then we brought him in. I mean, he did good enough. We brought him in the barn, and we gave him a wash and bathed him, and then took him in the stall and tied him up for a while, and he took everything great. I think he's going to be a really nice colt, and as long as this week's vet pre-purchase check goes well, I think the new people will be very happy with him. His mother has produced a non-pro fraternity finalist, and I mean, I won $20,000 on his mother. She was a Derby finalist. My daughter showed her. Super nice horse. And this colt, I think is going to be a nice horse too. And then, so we got all of that done, and customer brought me in some cupcakes today. Cupcakes. I love cupcakes. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't? A very nice gesture of her. I was very, very happy to see that this afternoon, because I'm not going to lie, that about 2 o'clock this afternoon, my ass was dragging. The horse show caught up with me. The drive home caught up with me, unpacking and everything else. Even though I got to bed at a decent time last night, I still got up this morning and came to the barn. And, like I talked about in another video, we don't fear Mondays because we have no weekend. It was Easter weekend, and a lot of people were away celebrating with family, or doing this, doing that. Where were we? We were playing in the dirt. That's what we do. We celebrated Easter late yesterday evening and a little bit this afternoon. But again, the beautiful thing about owning your own deal is that you can make your own hours to a certain degree, and you can say, hey, we're done at noon today. Let's fill up water buckets, top off hay cubes, let everybody down. Let's go to the house. Let's do something for ourselves this afternoon, and we'll come back and feed here in a little bit. Um, what didn't get done today is not going to go anywhere, but you have to be very careful that you don't get into a habit of doing that. And I think that's a very easy trap to fall into, where you get into this habit of going, oh, I'll ride that horse tomorrow, or I'll catch up on that tomorrow, I'll go bush hog tomorrow, or I'll drag the arena tomorrow. Um, you can get caught up in that trap of thinking that you've always got tomorrow, and you don't always got tomorrow. You don't always got tomorrow with a horse, and you don't always got tomorrow with a person either. You know, so I think that's one of those things too, that you have to, if it's on your mind that it needs done, you need to find the time to make it happen. Just like trimming a couple mares today and trimming that yearling, it needed to get done, and putting it off till tomorrow wasn't going to help me, because it's still going to be there. I mean, yes, I put off dragging the arena this morning, but my wife and I sat down and we did billing. I say sat down, we didn't sit down. We stood in the middle of the barn aisle with a cup of coffee and went through all the horses and who done where, and got this and got that, and I had my list and my paperwork, and she had her list figured out, and we were going through everything, getting bills sent out. And so that was just, I'd like to say a typical Monday, but no, that was quite a typical day. It was just a day. I didn't quite get everything unpacked out of the horse trailer. It's okay. I got, handful of bridles left in there, and the laundry, the horse show laundry is still in there, which I will take out of the trailer, and I will, gleefully hand to my wife at some point tomorrow, and she will give me the death stare and take it to the house. And then for the next week, everything we wash will have sand in it. For the next week or so, everything that comes out of the washing machine will still have some sand in it. And that is entirely my fault for using so many sets of Polar Wraps and then washing them. Eventually I'll get up there with the big boys, and I'll put a washing machine in my barn, and I'll be able to do all that. But we have not reached the ranks of horse trainer God yet, where we have a washer and a dryer and a minion. That's the other thing. I mean, just having a minion, I could send them out to the creek with the little washer board, be like, hey, take this 5,000 sets of Polar Wraps, go wash them on your little washer board out there in the pond. But we haven't quite got there yet. And a quick recap on the horse show. Again, I was so very happy with all my 3-year-olds that went. That they all took it so well. They did good. I received very good compliments on a few of them. My horse show didn't go quite according to plan. I mean, I got along. I won some money, but I had some bobbles on my horses that need fixed. I piloted one through the pen for the first time. Although we had some communication issues in there, I think he's a really nice horse, and I think his owner is going to be very happy with him moving forwards, regardless of whether I show him much more or not. I'm thinking I'm going to. I think there's a lot of horse in there. I don't want to push him too hard, because I think he's been shown hard a lot. I don't want to crack that little egg of his too badly, but he's going to be a lot of fun for his owner. The one I've been showing, and I'm going to keep showing. She and I need to have a couple of discussions about which way her shoulders should go. But it's, again, we got along pretty good, and coming back to those 3-year-olds, a lot of it is need versus want. What I want that 3-year-old to be doing at a certain stage versus what I need them to be doing are two totally separate things. Um, and I think that's something we tend to forget about, the need versus want. When you get what you truly need, what you want will follow right behind it. But if you keep trying to get what you want without getting what you need to happen, what you want almost becomes unobtainable. Um, and I think the same can be said for at home, on the ranch, in the barn. You have to get done what you need to get done in order to get to what you want to be doing. Um, and that, I think, comes back to daily discipline and mindset of this is how our day goes. And yeah, things can go wrong, but if you have done what you need to do, you'll be able to go do what you want to do. Um, and that brings me into the psychological side of it is, you know, I need to do all this stuff, but I'm already doing what I want to do. I'm already playing in the dirt, messing with horses. And I had this conversation, so I had a new customer came to me today, dropped off a horse. Um, and they asked why I do this. Well, it's a very interesting question. Why do I train horses? And I would love to give the spiel of, I just, for the love of the horse, and and the love of the game, for us, the reining deal. And I do. I love the horses. I love the reining. I enjoy training reining horses. I enjoy coaching people to ride reining horses. The truth of the matter is I did not want to get a real job. Under no circumstances did I want to go work a real 9 to 5. For whatever reason, that was not. So the simple truth is, I didn't want to get a real job. Now, I'm probably about unemployable for anybody else. I'm mid-40s. I'm a little soft in the middle. I can be half-ass lazy from time to time, and you know, I've become a little set in my ways as far as how I do things. I don't think I would survive well in the general population of society working a real retail job or a cubicle. Seriously, you guys that know me, can you see me selling insurance? No, that ain't gonna happen. Um, and so I mean, the thing is, it was almost a calling. Yeah, but no, it just beat reality. I didn't want to go and work for somebody else driving a truck or doing this or tending a bar or anything like that. I just didn't want a real job. So I decided if I could get paid for playing in the dirt and riding horses, hell, I was going to do it. And, and I've achieved that. I have gained what I wanted to do. I still get to drive the truck, and I get to reap the benefits that come with doing what I do. I've got a barn full of nice horses. There's not a horse in my barn right now that I do not look forward to getting on every day or working with every day. Not one. Every single one in my barn, I have a hard time picking my first ones in the morning, which is why right now my day is split into, on a regular day, I'll ride my 2-year-olds first, then I'll ride my 3-year-olds, then I move into my broker show horses, and I can pick one or two of those at the end of the day that Caden or Lottie can help me with and lope or cool down. And that was a cool thing about today. Sophie came to the barn. She's been hankering to want to go and ride something a little bit. So looks like I found me a new cool down rider. I mean, she wanted to get up on there on the big horse. I think I saw her on the pony one time last year. And the pony we have, she's a fantastic pony, but she's a great lead line pony, great beginner pony, but you take her off the lead line. I hope the kid's pretty handy because the mare has a mind of her own. But she's a typical pony. Ponies are the spawn of Satan. So, I mean, they're going to do that to them. And most people who really can ride and are truly hands, they rode ponies. And they learned the hard way that ponies, they're just the spawn of Satan. They do what they want when they want, and most of the time they know the kid that's on them can't control them. So, sometimes they're in a good mood and they do what you want, and other days you're lucky if you can get them from point A to point B without stopping every 2 strides to eat more grass, or they pull their neck down and the kid catapults out the front. But it was cool to see Sophie come out and get on one today. So that's about it for today, and I think moving forwards, I think I'm going to do a little video like this every 2 or 3 days, along with throwing some shorts or some reels in there. And as I get more accustomed to doing this, I mean, I might be able to do one from the back of the horse at some point, or figure out different ways to do this. And as I said, I'm going to start introducing everybody that's following on this to at least one horse a week, and let you see that horse and know about it and follow it and learn what they've done, where they've been, and what the plan is moving forwards for that horse and maybe that customer. So I'm kind of coming up with different ideas of things we can do. So as far as what does the fox say today? Need versus want, guys. Be careful what you wish for. Later.